This is like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I'm just going to tell you, people, you're my lawyer. I'm just going to be, yeah, nope. Talk to my lawyer. Mike, it's time for comeuppance, baby. It's time for comeuppance. You've come on my show, and you've said, Mitch McConnell, good this. Mitch McConnell has been strong on this and strong on that. And I got to tell you, I wasn't a fan of Mitch McConnell. I've always allowed you to say that. But then I saw him come out against Tucker Carlson yesterday, and it made my blood boil, Mike.
I agree with you, Ben. I like Mitch McConnell. I went in to war with him to confirm Justice Kavanaugh and many of the other lower court judges for President Trump. I saw that he was a warrior on judges. I've defended him a lot for many years. I tweeted out yesterday, I'm not going to defend him on what he said about Tucker Carlson yesterday.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, ladies and gentlemen, we have the clip here. We'll play it. We're not trying to like publicly crucify Mike here, but I was aghast when I saw the leader of the Republican Party come out against Tucker. Talk about shooting yourself in your tortoise foot. Go.
It was a mistake, in my view, for Fox News to depict this in a way that's completely at variance with what our chief law enforcement official here at the Capitol thinks.
So, Mike, I think this is listen, if you like Mitch McConnell, this seems to be a very bad political move.
Yeah, I hope Republicans don't follow that. I think he misstepped here. He misspoke. He made a mistake, and he should walk that back. And I hope other Senate Republicans don't take the lead, don't follow his lead on this, because they're going to walk into a bear trap if they don't.
Yeah. Speaking of walking into a trap, we've spent the entire morning talking about Pelosi and her security at the United States Capitol, and how the security was so degraded and was so unbolstered by what Donald Trump was offering, which was 20,000 National Guard troops. And that this seems to be the question that remains utterly unanswered, which is, what is Nancy Pelosi's culpability here with January 6th? And with her dereliction of duty protecting that building, there would be no January 6th with National Guard troops there. I can say that assuredly.
Yeah, she didn't do her job. She clearly didn't do her job, and there were very bad consequences for that. Remember, they tried to impeach President Trump because they say he didn't protect the Capitol. Well, it was Nancy Pelosi who did not protect the Capitol. It was her job as the Speaker of the House. She got President Trump offered her many thousand troops to protect the Capitol, and she turned it down. It's almost like she wanted January 6th to happen, maybe so they can push a January 6th insurrection narrative and use that narrative to eliminate the Democrats' top political enemy, Donald Trump, his top aides, and his many thousands of his supporters, because that's exactly what's played out since January 6th. They turned what was an out-of-control protest that turned into a riot. They tried to claim that it was an insurrection, even though they've never charged anyone with insurrection. And they used that as an excuse to go after Trump's top aides, including his White House chief of staff, his trade director, Steve Bannon, his senior advisor, many others. They put his supporters, they went after every grandma and goofball who trespassed and took selfies on the Senate floor. They put him in the DC gulag. This Chansley, Jacob Chansley, is the most egregious miscarriage of justice I've seen out of all of this. They had police officers let him in and escort him to the Senate floor, where he took selfies with his Hornman costume. And apparently it's only United States senators who could be performance artists on the Senate floor. So they were very upset about this, and they threw him in jail for 41 months. And not only did they do this, they went to, and I'm so disappointed in Judge Royce Lamberth, who I know and like, a Reagan-appointed district court judge who's usually skeptical of the government. He fell for this hook, line, and sinker, and they put him in jail for 41 months after they withheld exculpatory evidence that shows he's innocent, evidence that shows that the police escorted him. They apparently expected his attorneys, these attorneys for these January 6th defendants, to go into a room during COVID in the Capitol and watch 44,000 hours of surveillance tapes. That would take 22 years for them to do that. That's just not acceptable. These prosecutors, the Biden Justice Department, violated the Constitution. They violated their Brady obligations. This is very serious. they should be disbarred and they should be sanctioned. And Jacob Chansley should be out of jail right now.
Wow. I mean, that's strong. Those are strong statements. And again, if it was illegal to wear clownish makeup and have horns being inside of the Capitol building, Nancy Pelosi would have been arrested a very long time ago. And so I do have to ask, you sent a viral tweet that went bananas on this. Do you think that they'll revisit Chewbacca Man's sentencing? What is the legal perspective on this when you have, I can't remember what exactly you called it, exculpatory evidence that gets released in this manner, and the man's serving 3 years? That's a lot more than any Antifa member that I know of.
Yeah, apparently he needs to go to try to assassinate Supreme Court justices in their homes, and then, very little will happen to him. It's just insane how we've had this Department of Justice politicized and weaponized to go after Trump and all of Trump's supporters and coddle Biden and all his supporters. It's amazing what Merrick Garland has done. It would be very nice if we had a committee in the House of Representatives to look at this. Maybe Jim Jordan can think of one. It's because this goes right to the weaponization of the Justice Department. Maybe Jim Jordan can come up with a committee. But there is a Supreme Court case called Brady versus Maryland from 1963 that says that prosecutors must make available to defendants and defense counsel exculpatory evidence that would tend to show that they're innocent of the crime with which they're charged. And you can't just say, look, there are 44,000. We don't even know if Jacob Chansley's first lawyer even had access to these videos back in September of 2001 when Jacob pled guilty to these bogus crimes and got sentenced to 51 months in prison. But even if the Justice Department said, sure, defense counsel, you can go to the Capitol, remember, it's 44,000 hours of tapes. When Attorney General Merrick Garland said this is the biggest investigation in American Department of Justice history, they had thousands of FBI agents and prosecutors and other people working on these cases. They could have gone through this. Remember, the January 6th committee had $18 million, 100 staffers, and 2 years. They were able to go through all these tapes and even doctor them to fit their political narrative. You're telling me that the lawyers on this January 6th committee that made this referral to the Biden Justice Department, along with these FBI agents and prosecutors, never came across this tape that Tucker Carlson presented ever? That's just not believable. Every one of these attorneys should face bar complaints back in their state bars. The attorneys at the Justice Department should face Office of Responsibility complaints. And Judge Royce Lamberth should issue a show cause order asking why he should not find Brady violations here and sanction these attorneys and throw out Jacob Chansley's conviction. Now, I'll tell you, Bill Shipley from Shipwreck is Jacob Chansley's new lawyer, and he's essentially doing it for pro bono. He's a great guy. From what I understand, Jacob Chansley's sentence is running out, but this is a grotesque miscarriage of justice. This guy was a misguided, maybe mentally ill goofball who took selfies on the Senate floor. I ran the Kavanaugh confirmation. These senators' proceedings were disrupted constantly. The first 20 minutes of the Kavanaugh confirmation before the sexual assault allegations, it was the senators with their paid protesters in the audience. I mean, if disrupting Senate proceedings throws you in jail for 41 months, where the hell are these Kavanaugh protesters? Why aren't they in jail?
It's such a spectacular point. This is such a great point. People go and chain themselves and attack senators in the buildings during Kavanaugh. I mean, I've personally witnessed Chuck Grassley getting assaulted in an elevator by these rabid, frothing at the mouth protesters that have just had their brains liquefied and lobotomized by the left, and then they get turned into a little feral army that can be run around and can attack people.
Well,
and nothing ever happens to them.
Yeah, the Senate Democrats don't like it when you call them names like that, Ben. So,
nothing ever happens to them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Unbelievable. A final legal take here. Do you think that what Tucker's done is going to save people? Do you think that what Tucker's done is going to overturn sentences or spring people from jail? Or has the cake been baked here, Mike?
No, it absolutely should. These defense attorneys need to go on offense. They need to file motions with the court for Brady violations. They need to file state bar ethics complaints against these attorneys. Where's Channing Phillips? Channing Phillips was the U.S. attorney, acting U.S. attorney brought in from the Obama administration in D.C. to run these things. Where the hell is Channing Phillips? He has a lot to answer for here. He's the one who ran this. He's a left-wing partisan hack. He's one of Eric Holder's buddies. Where the hell is Channing Phillips? Why isn't Jim Jordan's weaponization committee, if they can get the training wheels off and, maybe get out of the baby crib, they could call in Channing Phillips and ask him about this. He'll reject the subpoena. He'll have the Justice Department fight it, but start fighting here. Let's put up a fight. Again, Judge Royce Lamberth has a responsibility here. This is a clear constitutional violation with Jacob Chansley. He was clearly railroaded. The Democrats clearly made a performance artist the face of the insurrection. And so they had to put him in prison for a long time because they had to push their political narrative that this was how many insurrectionists get to a Capitol's Senate floor and take selfies and don't destroy the place and walk out peacefully? How many insurrectionists
say prayers? Say
exactly.
prayers, rearrange the furniture, organize things, and then abide by the velvet ropes.
Yeah, and how many insurrectionists are escorted by the police? This was a protest that got out of control. It was a riot. It was not an insurrection. These Democrats who are wetting their pants for the last, 3 years over this this is the next hoax. And these videos that Tucker Carlson exposed show that this was a hoax, another Democrat hoax. This was not an insurrection. It was an out of control protest that turned into a riot, and there's too much bedwetting on all sides. And I hope Senate Republicans stop bedwetting too.
Yeah. Real insurrection happened on May the 20th, 2020, when leftists, militants attacked the White House to try and kill Donald Trump and nearly succeeded, burning down multiple buildings at the White House and making Washington, D.C. look like this. I'm sure, Mike, you live in D.C. I'm sure you well recall when your neighborhood was on fire.
Yeah, and insurrectionists, when they burned St. John's Church, and when they tried to break into the Supreme Court, and when they tried to kill Justice Kavanaugh in his house, that's insurrection. That is insurrection, where you're trying to take out a branch of government. It's not insurrection to have a protest get out of control and take selfies on the Senate floor with Hornman escorted by the police, and then throw Hornman in jail for 41 months when there's clear evidence of his innocence. The cops let him in and escorted him around the Senate floor, while at the same time these BLM and Antifa protesters, rioters, are going around. They've caused millions in damage, killed dozens, actually billions in damage, killed dozens, and destroyed American cities where cops can't do their jobs. And who does that hurt the most? It's poor Black people in cities who get hurt the most. The people who Democrats pretend they care about. Equity, right?
That's right. That's right. Now the black cops at the U.S. Capitol, man, will ruin their careers if they wear a MAGA hat. Mike Davis, you can see why, ladies and gentlemen. He's our in-house show legal counsel. Thank you, Mike, so much for being on the program.
Thank you, Ben. I don't want you to go to jail, so I don't want to be your attorney. So
thanks, Mike.
See you, man.